Episode 5 of the Geekdom101 podcast first aired September 13th, 2018. I was joined by PhD Dr. Brandon Draven discussing the dangers and problems with social media in the modern day, how people are being affected by this, relationships, perception, how it's really affecting us. It's a really, really good podcast, real deep stuff, topics that are affecting us and our children and possibly even our grandchildren and how we grow up. So I really hope you like it. I think it'll be very eye-opening, that I will say. So without any further ado, let's get to episode 5 of the Geekdom 101 podcast. And welcome back to the Geekdom 101 podcast. And joining me as promised, the other half of the K-Fabulous Lucha Brothers wrestling show is here premiering on Geekdom 101. And if you don't know what that is, if you go to your iTunes or just look up K-Fabulous Lucha Brothers, you'll get the show that we've done in the past. But we're not talking about wrestling on here. We're talking about the dangers and the impact of social media in the world. And this is a good person to talk to because not only is he currently going for his PhD, he was inspired by his cousin Eros, who already has 2 PhDs. Let me introduce him first before we get into that. Please welcome Brandon Draven.
What's going on? No, he's got 1 PhD and 1 in psychology and parapsychology.
That's 2 PhDs, bro. I just said that. You're like, no, he's got true. 1 PhD. He's got 2 PhDs, psychology and parapsychology. You don't know your own cousin's credentials?
I haven't seen him in years.
I haven't seen him in years either.
He could be anywhere. He could be anywhere and everywhere at the same time.
He could be sitting right there on the couch right next to you.
He's like Horace Pinker from Shocker, brother. He'll go through these electrical outlets. He could be anywhere.
I thought you were going to tell me that he was like Brad Pitt in True Romance. Or was that Val Kilmer? I don't know.
No, that was me on many occasions on the KLB show.
As long as you're not Bronson Pinchot, even though in that movie he was beta, but even though he's an alpha actor.
In that movie and in Step by Step, according to you.
That's right. I did not like. No, but he was replacing Sasha Mitchell, bro. I mean, come on. I didn't like him there.
You know, before we get started here, I wanted to talk a little bit. I got to see. I was on your Geekdom page, and because I wanted to stroke my own ego, and I wanted to see the numbers that I helped produce with the Geekdom. No, what was it? The Double G podcast.
Are you talking about the SummerSlam thing?
Yeah, so we were out there for SummerSlam, and people haven't checked that show out. If you like wrestling, go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, that's all World of Geekdom.
World of Geekdom. So I saw the video you did on college, and I wanted to give my 2 cents a little bit. It won't take too long, you know, because it was very interesting, and I agree with a lot of what you said. You definitely hit on some good points, specifically the one where you have to do what you have to do for yourself. You have to. And there's a lot of roads, there's a lot of avenues. College isn't for everybody, but you have to match your desire and your personality, and that's the key here. Because if you're going to college and it's not who you are, you're gonna have a hard time making it. But at the same time, if there's a lot of people that love that experience, and if they go out to the world without that collegiate experience, and I'll talk about why in a minute, they're also going to be lost. So it's really up to the personality of the individual, and there is no easy answer there. But I will say, as a general answer, you should go to college. Let's say for whatever reason, you're 19, 20 years old, and you have no direction. You should go to college, because college kind of gives you a lot of tools. It really prepares you with a lot of like life lessons that you're gonna need, and
and employers know that. That's why some people they want at least an associate's degree.
Now I will say this, from personal experiences and a little bit of advice, like you don't have to be pressured to go to college right after high school. You don't have to. I mean, I would even recommend just taking a couple years off to get to know who you are as a person and what you want, because once we graduate high school, we're coming out of this like hurricane of, you know, the high school years, the education, and even our senior years could be very stressful, especially if you're into that whole school spirit thing where you just went through the prom, graduation, all these stressors. So you kind of want to just take a little bit of time off from that and go discover yourself. Now, I'm not saying go and get a woman pregnant and force yourself to get a 9 to 5, because that's gonna derail everything. I mean, I need you got to go out there and just figure out what you want. And if you got to experience with certain things, like if you want to be an entertainer, an artist, go out there and do it, and then come back to college. Now, the thing that why I want to generalize college in a sense that, okay, well, if you got nothing going on, you should go, because it gives you critical thinking tools. It gives you problem solving tools. These are things that you're not going to be able to find on Google. If you go through the college experience, you're going to come out a better person on the other side, no matter what you may think of college, because it's going to change you. It's going to enhance your confidence. You're going to be part of an elite club. Whatever your specialty is, that it's like a brotherhood. And anytime you're dealing with, like, whatever it is you're going to be skillful at, there's a certain sense of pride in that. So it's even recommended, like, if you have low self-esteem, you got to get good at something, whatever it is. And if you get good at it, it's going to enhance it by default. So if you go through college, if you go through those 4 years, and some of them could be pretty miserable because it's hard, it's not easy, you're going to be able to have higher self-esteem. You're going to be able to have a specialty. How cool is that? Like, you're going to be able to actually tell people that you'll specialize in something, which is not everybody in the world could say that, and you're also going to become a part of a fraternity, not just in the college terms, but also in the brotherhood of whatever, your skill set is. So, and then there's also this, like, you become less primal. And what I mean by that is, when people, and there's been research in the lower socioeconomic neighborhoods. There's been research done in poverty-stricken neighborhoods, where the reason why they tend to be surrounded by a lot of violence is because there's a primality to the people that live there. When you have the college experience, through education, you begin to problem solve, and you begin to kind of put your primal instincts to the side, which is a good thing if you want to be a productive member of society. You're not going to think with your emotions as much. You're not going to think instinctively as far as making wrong decisions, because you've been through that process of learning, and everything's going to be filtered through a more logical, frame of mind. So just for those reasons alone, I think it's worth it. Now, a lot of people would say it's expensive, and it is very, very expensive.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's really the main issue when you think about it.
But at the end of the day, it's an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, what kind of, we're gonna throw our money away in dumb shit anyway, and in material shit. Why not funnel it back to yourself and give you the life that you want? Again, going back to what D said in his original video, you gotta make sure that's what you want. That's the number one thing.
Yeah, and the problem is that kids change their minds all the time. Even I did. It happens.
Yeah, and it's difficult, because I got lucky in that I kind of found my passion very early, and then I found another passion later on.
And that's one thing I will also say, too, is that I've learned that the way technology moves and the way that we are as people, you're probably going to have 2 or 3 different careers in your life.
And that's okay. That's okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, most people are going to have them anyways.
Yeah, and one last thing before we get going on our original topic. One of the things that really pisses me off, as far as, when people that don't like college, how they criticize it, they'll always say, well, I know the guy that has a master's degree and he's flipping burger at McDonald's. First of all, that's a lie. I will ask anybody out there to show me that person, and they won't be able to show it to me, because that is a lie. Let's say, for argument's sake, that was to happen. Okay, this was going to happen. That person's going to have the skill set and the mental capacity to go above that. So he'll start as a burger flipper.
That's right.
But guess what? The higher-ups are going to notice him. And they're going to notice that he's going to stand out because he's so overqualified for that job. So he's going to get pulled up by corporate, because corporate management always wants the best people around them. So that won't happen.
Or he'll work there temporarily to get himself back on his feet, because sometimes you get fired from a job and you move to a new place, and there are situations where you work there, but it usually is temporary. What I did see, though, is I did see a lot of kids go for their business bachelor's degree and end up being managers at, like, smaller, more local level managers, but their whole dream was to be like the manager of like a big company, and that's not necessarily going to happen with a bachelor's. That I have seen a lot.
Yeah, and a couple of things there. For
you
that,
think
you're
realistically
right.
here.
a bachelor's degree nowadays ain't gonna get you shit. I mean, that's the reality of it. It's better than an AA and it's better than a high school diploma, but the competition is so fierce now that you need higher education even than that. But even they were managing, whether it be like a small Pizza Hut or whatever, because of that education, that bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I mean, again, so that was more the individual having unrealistic expectations than his education paying it off to him. And another thing too, you gotta network yourself. You can't sit there and just go to school and get educated
That's the
and
most
then
important
leave.
thing, actually.
But the cool thing about whatever department you belong to is that they always have recruiters. They're always going to be people, because you got to understand, corporations, companies, individuals, they want the best of the best. And if you have the scores, if you have the education, people find out about you and they need you and they want you and they'll go find you. So you do have recruiters as your education is going. But you also have to stand out. You can't just sit there and like not care. You can't just show up and do the minimum. You got to get involved. You got to get to know your professors. You got to get to know the school system, where the job fairs are at, and then you're gonna have success. If you just go and you just do the bare minimum, you're gonna end up with a piece of paper, and then all of a sudden you got to go look for work. Now, if you have the proper education, you'll find it, but it's gonna be a lot harder.
Yeah.
So let's get to talking about the social media.
Yeah, I mean, but you had this on your mind even before the James Gunn situation. I think the James Gunn situation is the one that seems to be most prevalent now. But we also
you know me. I've been harping on this because I saw this bubble, so I've been going off on this for years.
Yeah,
like off air stuff.
You have off air, yeah, you have, and a little bit on air too. And then also the Meltzer situation, which I don't know if I want to get into the details of any of this stuff as far as like what happened with Meltzer, but the Meltzer situation was a lot closer to people like you and I, as we follow the business, about how he was getting vilified. He was getting vilified on Twitter for essentially saying that the business is a cosmetic business, which it has been for years and years and years and years and years. So it was like Dave was trying to vilify WWE, and WWE wound up vilifying Dave. But that's because of that gang mentality, which is a big problem in social media, and it really a problem with this whole thing. Really.
That's right. And I like how you talk to the people like if they're the business and Meltzer, like this is a new audience here, but I guess it's your audience.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get into the details of that story, but essentially, a guy got called out for trying to call someone else out when he was just pointing out what they were doing, and he was vilified for it, essentially.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, that we've created this, and I like to joke, and I call it the fastest PC patrol. And it is very fastest because it comes to the point now where you can't have an opinion that's contrary to what they believe, because they will come and they will hunt you down, and they work in numbers. So what they do is they do an old tactic of getting real loud, and there's been a lot of instances where, like, back in the day, the louder you got, the more you were going to win the argument. You didn't necessarily win the argument, but you got the right of way because people wanted you to shut the fuck up. That's like what little kids do. They get louder and louder when they want to make their point. So you have this fastest PC patrol kind of going around, constantly getting loud, and just silencing the people that have a counter argument. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them being that social media itself is not the right tool to have a relevant discussion on any topics because of the way it's formatted. There's a lot of things that are not visual. There's a lot of words that get lost in translation. So you have a lot of issues going on here that really prohibit social media from being the outlet to express yourself and present good arguments. And that's where it becomes very frustrating, because rather than accept how we are in the real world, which is this abstract kind of personalities that we all have, social media has kind of created this black or white mentality, right? Because they don't have the tools to have anything else.
Yeah.
So it's all about either you're right or you're wrong, or either you're here or you're
just
there.
To clarify, when you say black or white, we have to explain it because you said it's a new audience. Black or white is not a race thing you're talking about here. We're talking about black or white as in like to the max. Like you have to pick a side versus there being a gray area.
So in psychology, when we're dealing with personality disorders, we call it the all or nothing syndrome. Black or white. So there ain't no complexity. There ain't no abstract nothing. It's just either you're in or you're out. And of course, we as human beings do not work like that. You know, we are creatures of our culture. We are creatures of our worldview, and each of us has a different culture, and each of us has a different worldview. And within that, you have a lot of abstract ideas that could go either to the left or to the right, and by that I mean the political terms, or you could go, more liberal, more conservative. We're all a melting pot of that. But in social media, because you have two-dimensional beings, that's not accepted, and so it creates for this weird dynamic that we're seeing right now. But I honestly believe that it is a bubble and it will burst, and the value is going to go down and down because this is not sustainable.
Well, we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but the thing I wanted to really think about here is when we're talking about social media, specifically we're discussing Twitter, because Facebook is kind of something that's changed in the last couple of years. It's much more of a personal thing. Instagram is all about pictures and trying to look pretty for people, and there's other ones too.
Which both of those are very interesting subjects that I have my opinions about, but we're not going to get into that on this show because there's also a lot of negatives on both of them.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
Specifically Instagram and the whole shallowness and superficiality about it.
It's very shallow. Yeah, it's very there's a reason why the term Instagram whores is actually like a term. You know what I mean? People are using. But when it comes to Twitter,
You whore. Terry Funk, bro.
Terry Funk.
You whore.
Come on, Terry. Is it gonna turn into KLB now, bro?
No, I'm sorry.
Twitter, okay, because everybody's on Twitter. That's where everything, the James Gunn thing was on Twitter, the Mel's thing was on Twitter, Trump is always on Twitter. There's always something going on Twitter. And then there's people having these Twitter wars over everything from music to anime to politics. And really, most of the time it is politics. I mean, when I wake up in the morning and I check my Twitter feed, there's always something every single day about politics. Now, again, the president that we have right now is a very controversial figure, and I'm not discussing my political views at all publicly. I'm just not doing it. Plus, as you know, I'm very different when it comes to my views on things, bro. Let's just say that Pindar is the only... No, that's so inside. No, but the point I'm trying to make is that, with the climate that we're in right now, right, this has become like a daily thing. Every day people are fighting about it, and it's very draining for me. Now, that being said, I usually end up ignoring all that shit and not even reading it. But there's always some kind of fight. But when you think about it, right, it's like one of those things where you're fighting on a platform that's text-based only, and there is no neutral party who's mitigating the debate.
That's right.
You've got one person who has more following has a bigger following than the other, and you also have a group who's very passionate, who's willing to vilify you and take whatever you say and twist it. And it's one of those things where, it's not sustainable. It's not real, but people get so caught up in it, and I'm guilty of this myself. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, what happens is that you don't get a neutral conclusion to the argument because it's impossible. It's like a house of cards. Eventually, it crumbles upon itself. It's not sustainable. But I think one of the things too that's incredibly frustrating is the part that, one of the worst things about social media is that people start bitching to their own friends, and by friends I mean internet friends, which is a whole different topic in itself. And
yeah, social media is not the place to complain about your problems, but people do it all the time.
Well, that's because they're unfiltered, and because we're all wearing masks on there. That's just the bottom line. But the thing is that if you're gonna put something on your wall, for example, or on your Twitter feed, it really is this subconscious validation tactic, because you're rarely gonna get anybody to go against you that's already following you, only for the fact that it's not seen as something that you do. You wouldn't do it in real life, and certainly you're not going to do it on social media. So what you get is a lot of people agreeing with you that don't even really know the issue. They're just agreeing with you because either they follow you or they like you, or they're kind of matching the person with the opinion, and that's not right, because sometimes the opinion is wrong even if you like the person. But nobody has the courage to call people out on their shit, because what's gonna happen is that you have the other people, especially with celebrities, and you know they're already being celebrities have the halo effect already going on.
That's right.
So nobody's gonna go against them. So if you try to call them out on their shit, you're gonna have their entire fan base kind of come at you, but not on the basis of, this is where it gets frustrating. Not on the basis of the argument, on the basis of their celebrityhood, or if they're pretty or whatever.
They're not defending Britney Spears because they think she's right. They're defending Britney Spears because they have this weird celebrity crush on them, and this is not a celebrity crush as far as like, you know, a crush like a heterosexual or homosexual like relationship. That's not what this is. This is like more of a pedestaling kind of crush. Like, it's not like they have a crush. It's more like an obsession over the celebrity.
And another thing that's interesting is that in the real world, we tend to have arguments with people that are from our generation, or people that are gonna. We're gravitating towards the same argument, right? Because we'll be at a party and you have like maybe like 10 people in the party. So you got a cluster of people that are somewhat like-minded, and the ones that are not are gonna kind of get weeded out through intimidation of just being around people. What happens with social media, because you don't actually see this, you have people of all ages and also of all like socioeconomic status and education level kind of give their opinion. So you have. How are you going to tell me that the argument of a 15-year-old is going to have the same weight of a college graduate that's 35 years old? But yet the internet takes both of them and gives them the same weight, because there's no way to verify visually where the fuck they're coming from. So that's another thing where all this thing where it doesn't work, you know?
Yeah, no, it gives people who don't, with all due respect, who don't deserve a voice, and it's not fair. You know, at all. And people tend to take things and twist them and then play the victim. It's just, the social media has really shown me, I don't know if human beings were always this bad and we just never knew until the internet became a thing, or if we slowly and gradually became like this. Because it's very cowardly. Like, one thing I've learned about social media is it's a haven for cowards. Because they can say whatever they want. Well, the internet, not just social media, the internet. They can say whatever they want and not worry about anything happening to them, bro. But the thing is, there are consequences, because we know stories of people who go on the internet and talk shit, and then they get dick slapped. Whether it be a humiliation, they get humiliated. Because remember, see, the beautiful thing about these people is that when the trolls come after you, right, if you're able to reverse it onto them and humiliate them, they're the ones who feel like fucking shit. And they deserve it because they're trying to make you feel like shit. But when you think about it, they're feeling like shit because they care about what a bunch of strangers who they're never going to meet think about them. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but I don't think you could base that on human beings. I think what's going on here is that we have a situation where human beings feel there's a disconnect to their actual personality or integrity. So again, you're creating a character, and that's the character that's speaking for you. So you're in a fantasy world. So all your repressions and everything that you feel that you can't say because there's social rules here on the real world, you just go ahead and say them there. That doesn't make you a bad person. That just means you're playing a role. You know, that means you're having in a weird way.
No, but it does make you a bad person if you spend your entire day trying to bring somebody down on the internet. Because see, in the real world, if you spend your entire day, all right, let me give you an example. This is what creators deal with. And I don't mean just me. I mean like everybody who's in the create. Even you'll deal with this at some point, I'm sure. Okay? Even though you're not like doing this full time. If you did, you would. How would you feel if you're working at your job? Let's just, I'm not going to give away what you do for a living. But like, you know, what you do like your day job, right? But let's just say when you used to work backstage at one of the movie things. And somebody kept coming up to you and saying, hey, Draven, you suck. You suck at your job. You suck. You suck. You suck. And imagine just hearing that every day from people who you don't even know. Now, most of the time, we as humans, we're just going to like, you know, some of us just brush it off. But sometimes you have people who take that to heart. And so if you're one of those people that's going around just spending your whole day trolling and trying to ruin someone else's day, no, you are a bad person. And that's the way I see it. Or you're a very much damaged person who needs help. How about that?
Well, I would rather go with that one than a bad person.
Yeah, I would too. Honestly. I would too. I agree.
Because because
I would too. Yeah.
first of all, we have social norms that would prohibit somebody from constantly telling me to my face.
That's what I'm saying. But on the internet, there are no social norms.
And there's no regulation on the internet either. It's kind of a free for all. There's no human resources to go to. You know, you can't have what we like to refer to as a little fella constantly telling you that you suck, bro. Because at that point, there's something psychologically wrong with that person. But it's this idea that it's not so much that their character is bad, is that there's some sort of jealousy going on here. There's some sort of this idea that you don't deserve what you have,
yeah, but
they do. You know what I'm saying? So all that, and then that's the only way they could express themselves, by telling you suck or criticizing your videos, and so. That does exist in the real world in a lot of ways, except it got like in the real world, if somebody's jealous of you, they're gonna backtalk you to your boss.
Yeah, it's more passive aggressive.
Yeah, and then they're also gonna kind of try to burn you around your workmates. You know, they're gonna go to people and say, "Oh, this guy, when he gets drunk." So there's other ways.
Yeah, but they do it a lot less. There's always boundaries. See, in the real world, let's say that you're in a situation where he tries to fucking, humiliate you. He'll humiliate you in front of your friends at work. You could tell the guy, hey, motherfucker, let's go outside right now and see who's really got balls, and fucking knock his ass out in real life. And on the internet, you can't do that. So there's always going to be a different boundary, bro.
Yeah, but you're playing to their game if you do that, bro. Don't do that, people.
Don't do that. But I mean, but don't sit here and tell me you haven't done that before or at least thought about it, because I sure as fuck have. I almost challenged my boss to a fight 10 years ago. Remember that story I told you? Remember that guy say, he goes, I'll drop you in 5 minutes. I go, I'll drop you in 2 minutes. Let's go right now. I told the motherfucker, I said, if it takes you 5 minutes to drop me, shit, in a real fight, 5 minutes? What real fight lasts 5 minutes, bro? It's Takayama and Fry, bro.
Roddy Toombs against Keith David, bro, and they live. That was about 7 minutes.
That was the best fight in movie history, bro. That or one of them John Woo fights, bro.
with the white pigeons in the background, slow mo.
Fat, bro, the alpha.
That whole reason why that happens is because the internet's unfiltered, bro, and it's gonna give people that kind of access. Yeah, but again, you have to understand that if people are doing that, see, this is where the what do you call them? The creators or whatever, the content, whatever.
Well, just the people who have a spotlight on them. It could be anybody, really. Politicians too.
But you can't. Why do you, like, again? It's a foreign concept to me to give these people the attention, only because I know. Yeah. I already know. You know that life has already defeated them. Yeah. Like, what could I do on my end other than just feel bad for them, and hope that something works out for them, and they could find some sort of passion later on. But hey, in the meantime, if they're frustrated, if they want to take it out on me, I don't care. I mean, as long as they don't get like personal to where they start knowing shit like that they shouldn't be knowing about, because then we're gonna get something else involved, So it's like that doesn't bother me,
No, I understand. I'm with you.
But this whole idea that content creators or whoever has the spotlight on them.
No, I mean celebrities too. I'm just talking about overall in general. Like I'm just saying that. That's what it's like, and it does bother you after a while, bro. It does.
But the thing is that it's a two-way street. The internet monster is a two-way street. You're feeding into this. Definitely. So by you bringing it to attention, you're making it bigger, and then they get bigger, and they just continue, and it goes on and on. Yeah. You have to stop it. You have to either let them talk. You have a fan base. Just let them take care of it. Whatever it may be, just allow. You shouldn't even get involved, because you're up here and they're down there. And you got to keep on doing what you're doing. Same thing to them. Like, they got to fucking get out of here and start doing what they got to do, And that's the way I would see it, because you're wasting energy on them, and that's energy that you need to do other things.
Now, earlier you said that this social media is not sustainable. Now, I for a long time felt the same way, but there are things that have happened recently that have made me question that, and I want to get into what you mean by that here in a minute. Because, okay, I've always felt like the internet and the real world are two different things, in the sense of you can pretty much do whatever you want on the internet and it won't affect the real world. That's why we have trolls and things like that. There's no regulation. You can make 1 million fake accounts and do whatever you want and still go to work the next day and nobody will know. I mean, that's just how it is. People do it all the time. But lately, with what happened to James Gunn, And what I've been hearing about how companies are now beginning to scour social media. So if you go in for a job interview and it's a job interview that actually requires and the company actually cares about its customer service and things like that, they will look you up on social media. There are tools that are being created now, advanced search algorithms, and I know this for a fact. This is not me just.
They got Skynet, or what the fuck's going on here, bro?
They got Genesis, bro. No.
Genocides.
Yeah. Genocides, that's right. No, but cyber.
That threw you off.
No, it threw me off. Now I'm thinking about fucking Miles Bennett Dyson for some reason, bro. I don't know.
Always him, bro. He hasn't been in the last 4 Terminator movies, and you always go back to Miles Dyson.
Well, first of all, that actor's alpha. Second of all, we saw him in that Justice League movie as Cyborg's dad, bro. What an ego, bro, to make him Cyborg's dad.
Jolton Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan, yes. So, anyways, what I was trying to say was, with the James Gunn situation and other things, like I said, there's companies developing tools to look you up on social media, and now with James Gunn actually losing his job, and over some bullshit, because he's never been proven to be a pedophile yet. If he does get proven to be a pedophile, that's a different story. I mean, we're recording this episode on September 1st, so if something breaks in the next few days, hey, you know it's recorded September 1st, okay? But we have that situation where he's not a pedo, but these people are trying to paint him like one because of jokes that he made 10 years ago, and he actually wound up getting, removed from Guardians of the Galaxy. So I feel like you're saying it's not sustainable, but now, in very recent times, we're seeing the impact of it on a real-world scale.
Well, you're doing a couple of mistakes here. First of all, you're making it seem like this is a permanent phase, and as we know, nothing in life is permanent.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about what's going on now.
And second of all, you haven't taken this argument from the perspective of the bubble. Now, it wasn't as bad as it's worse now than it was a year ago, because a year ago they weren't backtracking 10 years trying to get a guy on a joke he made. But at the same time, it was the James Gunn deal and a couple other situations on the internet that has started the backlash against the fastest PC patrol, and that's where it's starting. And this is something that I predicted a while back.
Please elaborate on this. I'm curious about your thoughts.
So at the end of the day, because we're people that belong to a community, and when in the real world we're all in small communities that kind of govern ourselves with social norms or whatever, and with culture, and we accept it. And as we're moving along through trial and error, we kind of conform to those social norms. Now, the internet's different because the internet is wide open to the entire world, where we said earlier it's all black or all white, that they expect everybody to just kind of conform to the exact black or white nature of the rules in one shot, and that's impossible. So what's going to start to happen is that you're going to start to see a backlash against that, because it's going to in essence make people walk on eggshells. It's not going to allow you to be, even that fantasy role, that role-playing role that we do on the internet, even that's in trouble now. And once that kind of fantasy role is taken away from us, then that's what we're going to say we can't have this. So we're going to have to readjust the rules. We can't be too strict, because that's not the reason. And of course, this is all happening subconsciously. That's not the reason why we decided to get involved with social media in the first place. This was supposed to be an open forum, and it made a whole big circle, and now it's becoming a closed forum, and we don't want that. And you're starting to see that, and also there's that whole nature of injustice. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have been getting vilified and been told they're bad people, and they don't deserve it.
That's right.
The guilt is not earned. The value of the crime doesn't match the punishment, and that's something that in real life we try to take care of with not only our justice system, but also our cultural rules. And so again, one thing that people forget is that the internet is relatively new. I mean, not the internet, the social media is relatively new. It's really been on a stride, I would say, for the last 7 years, maybe 10. So we're still kind of testing the waters. We're still kind of, trial by error and just kind of figuring it out. And I think right now this bubble is at its peak. Like you said, it's pretty scary right now, because we all got to walk on eggshells. But I think it is going to start to decline maybe in another year or two. And you're going to start to see more people reject the politically correctness aspect of social media, because it's very unfair, and it's create this dogmatic kind of point of views that you just can't follow. And that's not even concluding that, at the end of the day, people are on the internet are judging others on how they want to be. I guarantee you most people don't go out there in the real world and follow whatever they're preaching on the internet. So that you got to add that into it.
No, you go to a strip club on Saturday and church on Sunday. People do it all the time, But the thing is, I want to clarify something before people get confused, because I know what's going to end up happening based on the audience that I have. The PC Patrol that you're referring to, this is not the feminists and the SJWs, okay? We got to clarify the differences between what we're talking about here, because I think people immediately are going to jump to what you're saying and say, SJWs. That's not necessarily the same group here.
Well, and that's the irony of all this. That
labeling is pretty bad as well. We're going to get to that, but yeah. Yes,
so because the internet has no room for complexity, we've all been lumped to one group or another. There's not this idea of having these great personalities that could be either or. It's either you're one or the other. So what that happened is that it kind of blew up in the system's face, because now what you have real people that are truly trying to make change, whether they be SJWs or whether they be feminist movements, and they're getting muddled up by all these keyboard warriors. So now they're getting lumped together, and it's not the same thing. So what is this doing?
So basically, the original purpose of feminists and SJWs, the original purpose of them was equality among media and equality in the workplace. They want more female directors, female writers.
Just equality in all aspects of life.
In all aspects of life, yes. Now it's been twisted into this group that complains about everything. Then you have the counter group that tells them stop bitching, and that's the war we've got right now, pretty much.
Yeah, there's this sense that there's it's something weird. There's something that devolved from social media and social justice groups, and that's the sense of entitlement. You have these people out there who have this freedom and this power because social media gives us power. We have power. Social media has power, except it hasn't been used in the right way, unfortunately. And the thing is that right now there's people out there that are truly free, and they have this big domain to create legitimate change, but they're being silenced because of people that are piggybacking on them and trying to. They claim they're fighting for the same purpose, but they're doing it in a very antagonistic way. They're doing it in a very entitled way.
And I've talked to several LGBT who have told me about people like this who are making their cause worse. Because there's a difference between looking for a female superhero or wanting more female writers and things like that, more female, athletes to get more, stuff like that. And saying shit like, I want to cancel Father's Day because I hate men. See, that's not equality. That's you and your little hatred for another gender because you have daddy issues. You see what I'm saying? That's not equality there. There's a difference.
So it's kind of like that old fable of that superhero who got too powerful that they started. It was in the Dark Knight, right? We're old enough to.
Well, kind of,
but because the thing is,
but this is muddled waters here, because there's people who actually want equality who are getting mixed in with people who are being, what's the word I'm looking for? Zealots.
Well, they're actually. I mean, to even go deeper, there's a lot of people that join movements not because they believe in the movement, but because they're seeking. They want an identity.
Family, yes, I know. Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
brother, control your heart on, bro.
All right, I'm sorry.
We're not talking New Japan right now.
No, I'm wrong guy.
So yeah, and that's very frustrating because I myself have lived it. When I was in my early 20s, I was in that lifestyle. I was going to the rallies, I was representing, and I noticed a lot of that. And I even followed some of the wrong parties that I shouldn't have, because I started noticing these people are not here for equality. They're here because they need a family. They're here because they need an identity.
Yes.
And what starts to happen is that their repressed feelings start coming out towards the cause. So that's when you have this anger that has nothing to do with what you're fighting for. It's anger that you have in general because you have, like you said, you have there's some core issues going on, and you start expressing them towards the people that are going against your cause. So it's funny how the brain starts kind of interpreting all this as coming together, but it's totally different. And just imagine social media, how big, with billions of people that feel this way and are misinformed, and they're still spewing out venom, and there's criminalization without merit, and fucking self-righteousness, and all these things that should go against anything that creates change. That's what they've been holding on to, and that's where this thing's gonna collapse.
No, and the thing is, and we're gonna get to a little bit more of that here in a minute, but I feel like the issue is that, because I've talked to people about this who actually want to make change, and they're saying that all they can do to make change is to be loud. But then if you've got other groups like we talked about a minute ago, telling them just shut up and quit whining, it doesn't really lead anywhere. Now the main issue that I have with social media is, well, a couple things. Number one, people I think take it way too seriously. And number two, and this is I think is a major problem, is the lack of context. One thing that I don't like is you only have a limited amount of time to say what you need to say, and anything you say can be misconstrued against you. Anything you say, you could take things out of context, and people tend to I almost feel like people wake up. I hate to say this, bro, but this is how I feel. Some people out there wake up and just want to be mad at something. Like they want to be angry that day for some reason. I've done it a couple times in my life, but not every day. But I know people who wake up every single day and they're seeking something to be triggered by. And I just don't understand that, because all you're doing is creating more stress.
Well, at the end of the day, we do have this idea of anger being a part of our identity. Like if you're angry for so long and for so many years, that just becomes part of who you are. And whenever you're introduced to some sort of different outlook of life, you're gonna reject it, because that you want your familiar feeling, even if it's a negative feeling, which a lot of times is anger. So the social media, it's a perfect platform for those kind of people that are constantly negative, constantly angry, and just constantly want to put everybody down. And that's something that, people that are embedded in social media like you are, you just have to deal with that kind of feedback and blowback, from those kind of people.
Well, I don't mean just me. I'm talking about just in general. Like, they're not attacking me. I'm saying, like, every day I'll wake up and I'll see somebody complaining about something that's so minuscule and so, you know what I mean? Like, they're complaining about something every day. Something. Not me. It's just something, you know what I mean? Every day.
And the thing, but it goes both ways, because there's also that passive aggressive positivity too that's very annoying, and so again we go back to what we were talking about. There is no complexity here. There's just either or. So you have people that are either very, very angry, or you have either people that are very, very positive, and it's like you can't. That's not how the real world works. That's not. You're not gonna go down to the mall and meet one person that fits that criteria that you put on the internet. So at the end of the day, you could see that it's tailor-made for people that really need other forms.
But what pisses me off, bro, is the fact that because of social media, I feel like it's made people lazier. I feel like rather than actually doing research on something, you just look at a tweet that has no context to it and you come up with your own conclusion. You know what I mean? You look at like a tweet from somebody, like the James Gunn thing, right? The dude was just kidding around, making edgy jokes, and they took that as like a major thing. Look at the Meltzer thing, okay? The Meltzer thing again. What he was actually saying was misconstrued into people thinking he hated women, when this dude was this motherfucker saw 18-hour wrestling shows in Japan that were all women shows. Like, it's mind-boggling to me how people get on this fucking Twitter thing and they look and they don't even do an ounce of research, but they're so quick to jump at someone or jump at something. And again, I'm not talking about me because I don't really get this kind of shit, but I mean, like, there'll be a new, like, Dragon Ball character release or something, right? And somebody will be on there complaining about the guy's pants are fucking green. Like, it's dumb, bro. It's like, fuck. Like, do you have something better to do?
Well, everything you just said has different motivations, bro. From the Dave thing to the green pants.
No, I know.
thing.
I went all over the place.
There's different reasons why people react to that.
Let's just say that me and Rod Van Dam have something in common right now. That's all I'm gonna say. Move on from there.
No, but I will say that to kind of umbrella your point, they are all negative things. Let's put it that way. So, you know, the reason why people bitch about the pants is because they're living vicariously through that character, so it's a very personal connection, and that's understandable. The reason with the whole Dave thing or the James Gunn thing is because you got people that want to belong, bro. You got people that want to be part of a group. They want to be part of a family. So whenever they see they see somebody gang up on somebody else, they just want to join in.
Yeah.
Not because they have anything against that individual, although that's another issue that I'm gonna bring up right now. But because they want to join in with the people and they want to be validated by the people that are already criticizing that particular person.
And you know what's funny about that is, what you just said right there is how we've always been as human beings. Because how many times do you either join a religion or become an atheist, not because you really believe in it, but because you want to belong and be part of a group or a political party? Like, you know how many people I talk to who say that they're Democrat or Republican or whatever, and they have no idea what being a Democrat or Republican is? Like, it's so weird to me. Dude, my own dad, and I love my dad, but he was kind of a dumbass. My dad said that the reason... I'm sorry.
You know, he has a couple of my favorite stories of all time. We're not going to get into, but yeah, so I
so does your dad, bro.
I do respect your dad in a lot of ways. Bro.
No, I respect my dad too, but he was an idiot when it came to this. He would tell me that, he would say, I always vote Democrat because they always give more money to the poor. And I'm over here thinking, is Democrats like a bunch of Robin Hoods? Like, do you not understand that, like, that's not necessarily the case? And that, you know, like all politicians, well, I'm not going to get into it on this show because I don't trust many of them. Let me just put it like that. I don't care what side you're on. There's many I don't trust.
Well,
right?
What about Kane, bro? You trust him?
I do trust Libertarian Glenn. Yeah, I do trust him. I trust him, Jesse the Mind, and Jerry Stupid Lawler, the mayor of Memphis, bro. I trust those three, bro.
Oh, he never got elected.
Oh, I thought he did.
Oh, bro.
Well, anyways, no, but back to my point. People will join a political party and not even know what the party's about. Not even people go vote without even watching the debates, bro. Like, should you really be allowed to vote if you have no context about what's going on? Like, it's such a weird world we live in, bro. We've always kind of been contextless in a way because the human brain is lazy.
Right, and also, and so what the social elite have done is taken advantage of that. They've taken advantage of people's being gullible and naive, and just kind of falling for like a quick run through of the policies and all that stuff that a particular party offers, and you just believe it, but you don't go in there and do the deep research. So that's the reason why particular social elite groups stay rich. And well, that's one of the many reasons. And particular social elite groups stay poor because they feed on that ignorance and that naivete that these people have, you know. And it's like, well, I'm just gonna go watch the Kardashians for 3 hours. Just tell me, give me the quick and easy on the political party, and I'll go vote tomorrow. That's bullshit. That's why we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah, people,
you know.
Well, Pete, that's how it's always been, though, bro.
Well, yeah,
but been. So I feel like social media is just a reflection of how lazy human beings actually are. I hate to say it, but that's how I feel.
And in that aspect, yes, our brain has always been just give me the quick and easy, and I'll go with it always. And there's a lot of defense mechanisms that kind of correlate to that. So it is true. In that sense, it is a good reflection of the real world.
Yeah, but that scares me because, like, as a person who tries his best to be different, like, you know, and do his research and shit, I just wonder, like, am I, like, you know, that whole thing where you're surrounded by, like, I don't want to say that I'm like Brock Lesnar, bro, where I don't like people, but you know what I'm saying, like it's annoying when you realize people are like this, is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, but that's also your outlook. Your outlook could be better.
Well, maybe. I mean, I'm just saying that I don't like that particular aspect of humanity, bro. I don't like that. I've never liked that. Because it's not fair. Look, listen. I've been on both sides. I had once a kid send me a tweet, and I retweeted it, and I kind of clowned him a little bit. I wasn't a dick to him. I was just kind of mean. Then, like, about a year later, he hit me up, and he was like, yeah, all your fans attacked me. Which he was kind of being melodramatic because he only got, like, 4 or 5 tweets. Like, I didn't think that was that bad. But, you know, it would have been worse now. This was, like, you know, before I was this big. And it hit me like, fuck, I have responsibility now. Like, I have responsibility, but it's like, but it's also not fair to me because, you can't even be a jokester. You can't really be a prankster. You can't just be like a chill dude and just chill, like, you know, trolling your friends. You can't do that on social media, bro. You have to put on this, this I guess persona, which I try not to do, but I feel like everybody does it, and it's like, because you can't tell everyone everything on Twitter either. You can't tell them your whole life story, even though some people do go on there and tell them everything. It's just weird, bro. Like, I think people use it differently.
The thing is that, unfortunately, again, social media is created and tailor-made for role-playing. That's really what it is. You know, I think me and you have talked about it, because one of the reasons why people are always saying, well, why can't I have my friend who's 3,000 miles away and I only see him on the internet. Well, I'm gonna go through the 3 phases of relationships, right? And by that I mean friendships, how they're established.
All right. Well, before you do that, I just want to pop you real quick and say that there's a picture of the Katie Vick casket at the All In weekend convention, bro. Bruce Pritchard brought in the Katie Vick casket, bro.
So, so that's pretty much a good analogy, because there's friends that
and the Oz robe.
A friend could be Katie Vick and a friend could be Hunter, but they're not really friends, right? So friendships
one's dead,
so friendships are established by 2 people interacting and influencing each other's behaviors. And I have a point here, because I'm going to get to the reason why you can't be yourself on the internet, and why you do, unfortunately, have to play a character, and you also have to be responsible for the power that you have. So we're going to get to that, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yes.
So step 1 is people have to interact and influence each other's behaviors. So they must be interdependent. So both of them have to be interdependent of each other. You have to, and this is the critical part. You have to have a unique interaction with that person. In other words, you cannot be playing a role, because that person is going to react to your emotions and your behavior. So as we establish friendships, we start getting connected to our emotions and behaviors of our friend or partner. So that starts allowing us to see, okay, well, Big D's a funny guy. So whenever he tells me a joke, I'm not going to take offense to it, because I know what I have. And the third one is building a schematic imprint on your brain of that particular person. And the reason that's going to help is because whenever somebody has a sarcastic joke, I'm not going to take it personal, because I already have the schematic imprint.
That's right.
I have an interdependence with them, and their behavior influences me, and I influence them. So you have those 3 very important critical aspects, and that's where a friendship starts, and that's how you could be your real self. The social media does not allow for that, because we're constantly walking on eggshells. We constantly have our best foot forward, and so we can't
say what we really want to say. Basically.
No, we can't, but because we haven't met that criteria that I just went through. So it's the chicken and the egg. It's like we can't do that, so we can't do the other thing. And so when somebody speaks out of tone, everybody takes offense to it, because nobody could read the tone, because they don't know you. So that's where it gets very frustrating.
But they think they know you, and that's where when it gets to judging people with no context, that's the other problem. They'll see one thing you say, and they'll automatically create an entire character based on somebody that they don't even know. So it's not like you're right. You don't create a real schema. You create your own fucking schema, and you label somebody a douche or egotistical or whatever without even getting to know them at all.
Well, that's also taking into consideration their own, quote unquote ethics, and it's not just because they think they know you. It's also because you've triggered them, and whatever they think they're morally able to do to kind of get back at you. So it's actually just more them than it is you in that point, because you have a lot of people that think they know you, and you say something sarcastic that could be taken the wrong way, and they're like, whatever, they'll just keep on going because it doesn't really affect them. But if you have like a keyboard warrior out there, or somebody like that, they'll be like, what? And since they think they know you, but also combined with their views, that's when you have the recipe for disaster, because that's when you start getting attacked.
Yeah, and then again, there's no context to it. Like I said, look at the Dave thing. The Dave thing was such BS, bro. And I see it happen all the time. One person will say one thing, and it gets totally into this big freaking war over nothing.
Yeah. I mean, the James Gunn thing is really a travesty, because he was just there's he was just he was a jokester, and he also, to top it off, he told Disney when he came on board that his past, I mean, this guy came from trauma, bro. He came from fucking the Toxic Avenger and shit like that. So those guys are very PC if you ever seen any of their movies, but they knew all this, and he James Gunn apologized to Disney back in 2012 before any of this shit happened, or 2013 because he knew that this shit was out there, and he told them that's what I used to do. I don't do it anymore. And there's people that with agendas that came at him, and that's another thing we haven't even talked about. Certain groups that have agendas that have nothing to do with the ethics and morals of what was said.
That's right. There's people, the anti-Disney groups, and people trying to take out. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So that's also very unfair, and that's all. Again, it's a witch hunt because they sacrificed this guy for the betterment of their cause that had nothing to do with this guy's success, but they've affected his family, his career, and so. Again, where do we draw the line? That's why I'm telling you this thing will stop one day. Because as a culture, as a society, we cannot allow it to keep on because eventually it's going to come right around and affect us.
So what do you think is going to happen? What's your prediction on what you think is going to happen with it? Because I'm just curious about where it's going to go from here, where you think it's going to go.
I think issues will have less value. I think we could go through our psychology and look at stigmatization. That's a tough word for a Latino to say. Eventually when the boy cries wolf so much, it's gonna stop having an effect. And I think the value of the arguments will get less and less, and eventually it's gonna be seen as something that we kind of breeze through. You can't have people constantly be bitching about certain things that they want done right, or certain entitled things that they want done right, without it losing some merit eventually. It's gonna be bound to happen. And I think the James Gunn situation really brought a lot of people out, and they were like, what, we're tired of this. We're tired of these certain groups kind of condemning everybody for with a blanket statement without context and having other people suffer for it. So that was the first time where I was like, oh shit, now you're starting to see these people that maybe a few months ago were scared because the PC Fascist Patrol had a foothold, but now you have this movement where it's like, nope, we've had enough, because there's got to be room for satire. There's got to be room for sense of humor. There's got to be room for context. We're human beings. We're not robots, and we have to take culture into consideration. We all, different backgrounds, have their own rules and their own norms on what's politically correct and what not.
That's right.
You have to be aware of that when you're making judgments.
But you can't be, because that's not, people are too lazy to do that. They'll just judge based on their own. That's how it is now. They'll just judge, Dude, I've seen it so many times. Like I say, like, Eid Mubarak for all my Muslims. I have a lot of Muslim people that watch me. Dragon Ball's big over there, and
Herman Stevens is also one of them. Or he might be. We don't know.
Let's not say his name on here, brother, because we don't have McDevitt in our pocket just yet, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. But no, but man, you threw me off completely, bro. Well, okay, so you'll always have the one guy who'll sit there and be like, "Oh, why are you giving praise to a murder religion?" I'm like, I'm not. I'm saying hello to the polite, nice, kind, peaceful people that happen to believe in that faith, not the ones who are killing people. Like, it's really bad how people will jump down your throat over the most innocent thing, bro. It's like, I'm not allowed to have Jewish friends because I have Muslim friends. I'm not allowed to have atheist friends. I have Christian friends. Fuck you. I'll have friends whoever the fuck I want. Like, really.
No, you're right. And it's almost, if you see it from the perspective that I see it, it's become comical in a lot of ways.
It is comical. It is.
Because I will tell you this, like you were saying earlier, there's legitimate people that have fought so hard to create change, and you have all these insecure other assholes that have piggybacked on their cause, and it's kind of the result is that they've been silenced because people won't take them seriously. people will see them as a joke, and eventually they're not going to get what they wanted done, you know, and that's the real tragedy of this. And again, that is my prediction for the future. I think, unfortunately, right now we're in the biggest part of the bubble, and I think there's going to be other casualties along the way, but eventually people are going to get tired of it. And they're gonna be like, we need to have merits to our crimes here. We can't have this kind of, you know, baseless judgment on everything and cause legitimate careers to fail, you know. And that's what I think is gonna happen. And you have to understand how life works too. I know you could have a cynic there saying, well, it hasn't happened, or, you know, trust me, you know, it's gonna happen, because you gotta trust the science of life, and that's how we are as a people and as a community. And eventually, it's gonna be like we're not gonna stand for this anymore.
I certainly hope so, because it's getting pretty bad out there. All right, well, thanks for being here, Brandon Draven. Where can the people find you, if you even want them to find you?
Well, that's one thing about me, is that I'm on my way to possibly opening up my own practice, because like you,
Edos, bro.
No, like you know, you have. I mean, you're a public figure. You got something to lose, but even me, that you know, I have a lot of ethics I have to live up to.
Of course.
And because of my career, and so I have
take
to
on the
be
job
careful.
like you did before.
Even I have to kind of walk on eggshells, and you know what? Even with my prediction,
Can't even take gimmicks anymore, bro. Come on.
Even with my prediction, it's still right now. It's a very kind of scary time to live in, because there's a witch hunt going around, and you know, we all could be susceptible to it, and that's what makes it scary. But no, I'm just hanging out here. I have some big projects in the horizon. New wrestling podcast.
Can you plug where they can find these things?
Not quite yet, because we don't even really have that figured out yet.
Wow.
But what we do have is no, actually there's a lot of things in the fire, but nothing's official yet. But it's gonna be a very exciting tail end of 2018 for me. I guess me, you, and WG will, like, you know, we do quarterly shows that we have a lot of fun on. So maybe
we need Basil DeVito to be on one of those shows, bro.
Maybe we'll target the Survivor Series for our next one. Even though I think I'll be there live.
I said, are you ready for the Survivor Series?
That's a guy that couldn't be around anymore, bro.
No.
Roddy Piper? I mean, definitely not.
No, man. I mean, hell, the other day I was watching the Vince Russo shoot, and at the end of it, and Sean Oliver's like, could you write for Lou Albano? And then Russo was like, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even have to. I was like, you're right, bro. Nobody can write for Lou. You imagine one of these writers, bro, walking up to Captain Lou with a script, bro?
No, get this thing out of here. Get this thing out of here.
What is this? He'll actually stick it up his ass. I'm going to wipe my ass with this right now. Dude, listen, go in there. Tell Junior I'm writing my own promo. Junior or senior? Junior or senior?
Now, how would he call Triple H? Is that like Junior the Second, or you know, Steph's husband?
What did he call him in '95, bro? He'll call him John Paul, bro. Because in his head, his real name is John Paul.
John Paul. Johnny Paul. He calls him Johnny Paul, and it annoys Triple H.
Not Johnny Polo though.
No, that is alpha sometimes.
Well, Triple H is alpha sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. No, Paul's alpha. Triple H is not alpha.
Yeah, that's right. Triple H is not alpha, bro. So, for that Australian show, is Hunter gonna go over Taker, bro?
What
Austin thinks so.
What about if they book Race as the agent for that match, bro? How's that backstage gonna be?
It'll be a count out finish.
Hey Taker, you gotta do the job. You gotta put my boy over tonight.
Hey, and listen, but you know what? You can kick out of his finisher if you want, just one time. Remember, he came in and told Bradshaw, "I'm kicking out of your finisher." In 2002.
He was brand new, bro. He's already getting heat.
He got heat in the first night in, bro. Well, you know, Dixie, she's a beautiful woman, you know, but she's up with all the boys. You know, at least that's what I heard.
You know what's the show that I would like to come back for is the Pacification of America, because that's a whole another topic.
And I thought you wanted to come back and talk about Tombstone.
Well, that too. I love that movie, bro.
Yeah, because that could be the anti-pacification fucking drink right there, bro.
And then today I watched No Country for Old Men today. That's another alpha movie, bro. Through and through, bro.
With Javier Bardem, the ugliest man in existence. Bro,
But what a great movie,
the
bro.
fact that they created a heel with that haircut and it was taken seriously, bro. I mean, the last heel that has something close to what, Waylon Mercy?
No.
Eating the sandwiches and chicken and potato salad.
No, bro, it was the last heel that was awesome like that was the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, we didn't have that haircut, bro. I'm talking about the haircut.
He had a wacky haircut too, though.
Yeah, he did, but I mean, like, it wasn't as wacky as Javier Bardem's haircut, bro. Bro, nobody can get away with that. The oatmeal guy haircut?
It was a bowl haircut, bro. I love that movie.
At least he didn't have the Nasty Boys 4th grade haircut, bro, with a rat tail that every white kid in the 90s had.
Bill Paxton had it in Terminator, though.
That's right, he did.
Hey, buddy, what you doing?
No, you got it mixed up, bro. Nice night for a walk, huh? Nice night for a walk. Laundry day. Nothing clean, right? Nothing clean, right?
That's a great movie, dude.
The one you're thinking of is the homeless guy. Hey, buddy, did you see a real bright light? And then Michael Biehn,
that's right.
Michael Biehn robs him, and then the cops come by, and he goes, "That son of a bitch took my pants."
Bro, is James Cameron gonna be as alpha when he directs Avatar 2, 3, and 4?
No.
He's on his own crusade against the superheroes.
That's right, bro. He thinks that they're uncreative, but he wants to make a bunch of Avatar movies. Okay. Anyways, we're done. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the Geekdom101 podcast, and we'll talk to y'all down the road.